If you don't like empty grocery shelves but still want fresh veggies, then vertical farming is your new best friend.
Imagine this: towering gardens inside urban buildings, growing fresh food year-round. Vertical farming is more than just a cool concept. It's a game changer for food-insecure communities.
With vertical farming, fresh produce can be grown locally, cutting down on transportation costs and time.
This means healthier food options are more accessible, improving both physical and mental health. Plus, these urban gardens can become educational hubs, teaching kids about science, nutrition, and sustainability. But that's not all.
Vertical farming offers job opportunities, especially in Black and brown communities, creating a new workforce and boosting local economies. It's the future of agriculture right in our city centers. So what can you do? Get involved.
Support local vertical farming initiatives, buy local, start an indoor farm, or simply spread the word. Together we can build stronger, healthier communities. Let's plant the seeds of change today and watch our cities grow green.
Vertical farming, it's not just the future, it's our future. Follow us at greensideup.farm to learn you can get your own farm.
Yes, sir. Brother Lyric, I'll turn the floor over to you. That way you can kind of give an introduction of what it is that you do, the things that you've been doing and what you're working on, and what we can provide to get this vertical farming introduced and implemented into the communities around the United States. Brother, I'll turn the floor over to you, and then just let me know, and then we can kind of bounce back and forth to kind of go over each one of the points. And then I'm pretty sure some of the people on may have questions. We can answer a few questions also.
Morning, everybody. Thank you for taking time out. My name is Elliot Goldstein. I've been doing vertical farming. I've been in this space since about 2015. My background is in data center optimization, cloud, and backup recovery. In 2015, I was working for a company called Rackspace in South Dallas. That was really my first experience with like a food desert. I'm from California, so even in California, even in the hood where I'm from, my grandmother's garden, I had complex trees, plums, so I had access to fresh food, so it was real normal for me. So when I went out to South Dallas, seeing kind of like the tradition of South Dallas, it was very abnormal. So I started doing research on this new term that was out at that time called food deserts, that coined by this lady in the late 1990s, kind of identified particular areas that normally have access to fresh produce. Me, I kind of took it a step further that it wasn't that these areas didn't have access to fresh produce, but the actual community itself wasn't healthy. So while it was also a food desert, there's also a resource desert. There's also an education desert. I noticed that South Dallas actually they had the highest rate of type 2 diabetes, application diabetes in the country. And the common denominator with all of this was that it was the access to what people had to put inside their body. So even when it came to children and start to look at the education scores in some of these community schools that are identified as Title I schools, and then how they have out there, everywhere now, is if you have a child that is reach a reading level by the age of 3, that they start building prison beds for them. And all this is based on, their mental abilities, their capacities, and neurotransmitters are those things that help us think and make good decisions. You only get from one resource, and that's good nutrition. And so by hobbling a whole community without good nutrition, you're not only affecting the health of their bodies, but you're also affecting the health of their minds. So their ability to even generate good ideas and make good decisions for themselves, all of those things are inhibited by their access to fresh produce and healthy food. So now when you start to add in the fact of our history of eating, fried food, and, all the different salts and seasonings, and our history of diabetes, heart disease, the fact that Black women right now are the leaders in heart disease and heart-related mortality in this country, is all based on what we have access to. The fact that we don't control our food system means that we're no different than animals who have somebody feed them. I moved back out here from Oklahoma after spending about 3 years out there working in food deserts, developing food deserts. solutions utilizing vertical farming because they shut down one grocery store in Northeast Oklahoma that made that the 10th largest food desert in the country. So and when they do these things, the government responds by putting out funding and grants and those different things in order for the community to be able to kind of respond to things that are considered crises within their own community. I got into vertical farming because for me it was looking at, rather than be like a lot of the nonprofit organizations that go in there want to hand out food and stuff like that. Again, these are all things that you got to look at just the natural order of things in nature. If you take an animal out of its natural condition, put it inside of a zoo, you can no longer return that animal to its wild. It's because they've lost their natural ability in order to be self-sustainable. And that's pretty much what's happened to the majority of the Black community, that we don't have the ability to even sustain ourselves. So these areas that are considered food deserts are also, they don't have the ability to self-generate anything because they're not producing anything. And so for anything to be able to produce anything, you have to become, a community has to become bioproductive. You have to do something that somebody from the outside wants. And so vertical farming gives the ability to utilize an adversity, which is food, and convert that into an asset, which is the ability to grow the food. And not only the ability to grow the food, but the ability to grow the food in unnatural conditions. So I'm out here in Las Vegas, pretty much a desert. They import 98% of all their food. So it's really just a matter of supply and demand. And with vertical farming, it's essentially growing food without utilization of soil, and doing it in a way where you're utilizing less space and harvesting in less time than traditional farming. So if you imagine a head of lettuce taking about 55 days and 25 gallons of water, with vertical farming, you're able to do that in 21 days, utilizing only 3 gallons of water. The other part is that, traditional agriculture, like being from California, traditional agriculture where 96% of all your romaine lettuce comes out of California. The other 20% comes out of Arizona, and the rest is kind of spread out around the country. And most of the new diseases that's coming out, there's been a large listeria outbreak when it talks about organic, because these are not pure ways of growing produce anymore, that over time, these things are going to get even worse. So a lot of the fertilizers been used in California since the 1970s are now leaching into the soil, Roundup, and different things like that. Now we start to have a lot of short claims about people getting cancer as a result of these different fertilizers chemicals that's been used to grow food for years. Now, one of the biggest challenges now, and one of the biggest arguments now, is that by the year 2050, we're going to have a population, we're going to have an extra billion people on the planet, and we're going to need a land mass the size of South America in order to feed everybody. The problem is that we've used up 70% of all the arable land in the country. And so there's not going to be any more space to really grow food. And so a lot of these urban areas that were considered to be suburban areas and rural areas earlier in time are now becoming more urban. And so they're spreading out and they're growing in spaces that were usually used for traditional agriculture. And so primarily when you start to have these types of changes, you have to change how food is going to be developed and delivered to those people. And so with vertical farming, what we've been able to do is take, small spaces and convert those small spaces. And so I'm in a 1,200 square foot space right now that I'm currently growing in, and I'm doing about a half acre of food every month. So I'm doing about 20,000 plants per month. And we do this in a way where it's a lot more economic. We grow crops that are specific to what the demand is for the local market. Right now, there's a big thing when it comes to local produce, and most of the produce that comes into our stores, it comes into our restaurants, it's all transported in at a minimum of about 2,000 miles away. There are other areas in some of these other states that do have a more robust agriculture ecosystem, but a lot of the Black farmers are challenged with competing with some of these large commercial farmers. So that means thousands of acres, thousands of dollars, billions of dollars of machinery and manpower, and many of us don't have the ability to compete with that when you're growing that many acres, you can sell a head of lettuce to the market at 25 cents per head of lettuce. so with vertical farming, it's more of a niche market of being able to basically utilize again what those challenges are inside of a food insecure community, and really empowering those communities with new technology and a new revenue stream to really meet a new demand, a demand that's now that's here now and that's going to continue to grow. And so we target those food desert areas instead of setting up these larger vertical farms where setting up 20, 30,000 square feet, and then you have a very high operating cost. We use more of a model that is more geared towards almost like 7-Eleven. And so we're using anywhere from 1,500, 2,500 square feet, where we know that we're able to supply enough in that area in order to generate enough revenue dollars to employ at least 10 people per place, per location.
Brother Alaric, I got a couple questions there. You kind of went over everything. I'm glad you introduced it the way you did. You're talking about the system. Can you go into kind of details of what type of system that is, just to kind of give an overview of the type of system that we're growing in? It's not the traditional soil system. So I know the tower system and the water setup and different things like that. There's different aspects to it, but if you can give us a quick overview and detail of how that setup is.
So there's a number of different types of vertical aeroponic systems. There's vertical hydroponic systems, there's vertical aquaponic systems, there's vertical aeroponic systems. The difference in all of these is the nutrient deliveries of those systems. The system that we're currently using is called a RADIC system, which is an ebb and flow system, or what is known as an NFT. So these systems are, they're scalable based on size of location of what you're trying to do and what you're trying to grow. All of these things are based on, they can be engineered and designed to grow whatever it is that you want to grow. So if you want to do strawberries, I have systems that are designed to do strawberries. If you want to do watermelons, or cantaloupes, or larger fruits, you do that. If you want to do tomatoes, we have systems designed to do pretty much anything. What we're also moving into is having more mobile systems. So there's companies out there like Freight Farm that sell systems that are in containers. We have a new model that we've developed that actually uses 18-wheelers. And so we basically convert 18-wheelers where you can just pull a trailer up to the back of it. And then these systems are basically farms on wheels. So the goal with this is to always have the ability to be able to set up and grow almost anywhere. So anything from the tower systems that are designed for somebody who wants to set something up in their house, somebody who wants to set something up in their garage, somebody who wants to actually get a small building and set up a small micro farm, to getting up a larger facility or setting up inside of a grocery store. So systems are extremely scalable. I've been in the industry for a while, so I work with a lot of different manufacturers around the world when it comes to these types of systems. Our thing right now is really developing systems that are more cost effective, that allows for people on a lower level to really get involved with them. We have certain partnerships with, right now with our Clark County School District out here, but we're also part of another national organization called Green Our Planet that has these same type of systems in about 1,000 schools around the country. And so we do this by getting these different grants in each one of these cities. And so each city, each school district get certain types of grants that are able to facilitate them getting all the different materials needed to set up these indoor farms. And this was all done during the Barack administration. And this is Michelle Obama, who really kind of kicked off this Farm to School program. And we haven't been the ones really taking advantage of it.
Yes, sir.
It's been a lot of other communities that's really kind of taking the lead, taking advantage of it, and taking the money and the funding. I'm working with an organization out here, man, that said they just ran through $2 million to put about 200 of these systems in almost every school in the school district out here,
yes,
including libraries.
That's another thing, another point we want to hit also, which is the workforce development and the network development part of it, which is kind of what you're talking about. Also, going hand in hand with the training and then also with the building funding. There's grants out that people can get that we that's basically part of the organizing that we'll help you guys do also, which is go in and actually start from the ground up and get a workforce development and network development going there in the area. If you guys have a location where you want to put a building, if you already have a building, if it needs to be remodeled or set up, we can come out to the area wherever the location needs to be set up at. We also can do the system training online. So there's a couple of different options as far as for that. And all this is everything that can be put into the funding, which mostly comes from grants. A lot of these grants are also available in different areas and different communities. But the main thing, the big thing is it's available for all schools. Brother, can you kind of speak a little bit more on that with the funding coming from the schools? Because that's something that we can kind of utilize where we can be able to teach the community. We can also be able to help with things to help with the food insecurities. And then also it's something that can be duplicated on a local level, like you were speaking of in home.
Right. So with the schools, this is both through the USDA and the Department of Agriculture and the Department of Education. Is about getting healthy produce into these schools. So all of these schools across the country are actually incentivizing us to buy produce, start buying produce local. So WIC programs, SNAP programs. Every state has some type of form of double up plus programs for anybody who has SNAP. They can actually go in the store and get up for every dollar they spend, they can get up to $20 in fresh produce. So there's a number of different funding options and programs that are out there. But again, the school program is a federal program.
You faded out on us there. You kind of got away a little bit. Brother Lyric, can you hear us? Not sure. Let's open the, is there any questions? Anybody have any questions they have? I see Elder, you on, and I see there's somebody by the name of Miss Trina is on also. We'll open the floor for any questions. If you guys want to unmute yourself, you can ask any questions.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Oh, okay, dang. I was sitting up there talking. I didn't know I wasn't on.
Yeah, I was
So I'm
trying
actually at
go
so I'm
ahead.
actually at the farm now, so I'm finna turn this camera on.
Also, we can go ahead and open the floor for any questions. I don't want to hold everybody too long. This is just kind of a quick introduction, kind of Q&A type of thing. If anybody had anything they want to ask, you can go ahead and unmute yourself if you had any questions you want to ask. He's actually on location at a indoor farm that is here up and running in Las Vegas. This is the location he was speaking of. I think it was a 12,000 square foot is what he said it is. This is one of the pilot locations that they do a lot of the training out of. This is also in an urban area. So this is an example of kind of what we were saying when you could take a warehouse, an empty building, an empty house, anything, and you can actually turn it into an indoor farm, which creates a produce market in the urban and desert areas.
Shut it. So what we do is that we also partner up with different organizations and different companies to utilize and train our students on their systems. And so this is how we kind of focus as far as developing a workforce. So this is one company, Harvest Today, that develops a wall system. This is a company, Tower Garden, that I've been working with since 2015, where we grow stuff on these as well. And so I have there's a company called Oasis Biotech. At one point in time, they were the largest vertical farm in the country. We had a relationship with them for about the last few years. It's a Chinese lighting company that recently they shut down their operations out here in the United States, and we're kind of picking up where they're kind of leaving off. So we basically bought them out with a lot of their equipment.
Yes, sir. Want to ask again, I don't know, was there any questions? Anybody have any questions? I see we have a couple people that's on with us. This is being recorded, so I will play this back. I will have it where it's accessible for everybody to be able to see it. Just wanted to see if anybody had any questions before we got offline, because I know it's a lot going on and people in the middle of the day. So just wanted to get the information to you and kind of give you an introduction of what it is that we're providing. I will get with anybody specifically that wants to get any further information on how to get this going in their area, but this is a program that we want to get going. We do consider this a Feed the People program because it is feeding them, it is teaching them, and it's giving them things on multiple levels that we need that is sustainable for our community to grow and build like it needs to do. One more time, I'll open the floor for any questions. I think that's pretty good as far as for introduction. Any further videos, any further conversation that we need, we can have, and we can make sure that we cover anything else that may come up. I just wanted to see if there was anything else or any questions that anybody wanted to bring up. The floor is open. You just have to unmute yourself.
And again, we're doing about 20,000 plants in this space here.
Yes, sir. Appreciate it.